Upon your opinion, I think completely different brand image compared with in Japan or the rest of the world. Like if you want to build a brand at the global level, or if you want to build a brand in only Japanese market, is it?
Definitely, because people think different. People are more.
So we are doing well in
appealed-
Japan.
I think people in Japan generally have a tendency to prefer Japanese brands. Anshin. I know when there's a problem that I can expect people to go the extra mile to resolve it. I know that people in Japan are very diligent. They're very highly skilled. There are because Japan is not such a big country. There are always people in near that you know that work at the Nissan store, or they work in the Nissan factory, or they have a job supplying goods to Nissan. It's just part of society. So it's basically it's one of us. That is why people choose Nissan, because they choose for a maker that makes them feel at ease. Do I think that Japanese makers are competing with each other because of how they brand themselves to their customers? No, I don't think. I think they basically they don't make an effort to be different, to be outstanding, to make their cars different, significantly different from the other cars. How is Toyota separating itself from Nissan, separating itself from Honda? I don't know. I have
Are you
no
talking
idea.
about much more focus, Japanese company, marketing company need to focus on global brand?
They need to actually look at their market, get to know their customer, and give and really think about what's important to that customer and what can we do to appeal to these customers. Because like even like Dutch customers are different from German customers, are different from French customers, and even French customers. There's no such thing as a French customer. There's a French customer with a university degree. There's a French customer who's an immigrant in France. There's a French customer who is young, who's old. They all are different. So how are you going to make a brand? What is the common denominator? You really need to get to know these people, gather a lot of information, and then decide, okay, what kind of brand image do I want to give to my cars? And what do I need to do in order to support that brand image? Not only in terms of the product, but also to my outlets, what they need to look at, which people are working there, my after sales service, my brochures, my everything needs to support that brand. And then gradually by repeating that message, people will start to identify with, oh, I like that message, I like that brand, I like that customer service, it really gives me value for my money. And the next time they make a new car, that will be the first place to stop, because I buy into their story, I buy into that experience.
So it means the Uniqlo success building a brand in China because the Uniqlo president in China is Chinese.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
Japanese brands cannot build up at the rest of the world. They are more.
No, because they need to change they need to adapt their behavior to suit the emotions, and I mean they have an opportunity because Japanese still have a very good quality price image, but how do you apply that to the local market, and how do you make that into a consistent experience? It's very important.
Experience.
The Japanese is very difficult to hire the overseas people because we cannot pick them up. Who is the right person? And this is a big issue, right? Also, Japanese cannot be the to create a local brand. So it means like Uniqlo in China, okay, hire good Chinese management, right? But Japanese is usually we confront with very difficulty to hire global people, overseas people to pick it up. Many companies fail. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's really an art to brand yourself well.
So it means if you're going to build a good brand, it means in Dutch, in Holland, or in France, you need to hire good management there.
Right. Very good management. Or you need to be like Apple. Like Apple basically has a consistent brand image throughout the world. They are not different. If you walk into an Apple store in Ginza, it's the same as an Apple store in Paris. It's the same as an Apple store in the United States. But they have a unique product, or at least they created a story that everybody believes that they have a unique product. That has a separate OS, that has their own hardware, that is well integrated with the other products, that gives a consistent experience in terms of customer support. That brand image that has helped Apple to survive for the past years or make lots of money, even though they haven't made anything innovative in the past 10 years, I think.
Yeah,
since
Apple
Steve
is
Jobs.
product-based brand, okay? And Sony is a 3 decades ago, Walkman-based brand. Same.
Yeah, it's a Sony. It was beautiful. It's a Sony. Sony was the only company in Japan that got it.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but at that time, that phrase, it's a Sony. People in the United States thought that Sony was American.
No, I'm talking about Apple is product-based brand. This is acceptable. Apple and also the Louis Vuitton, kind of, French,
Yeah, Vuitton or
Chanel,
Yeah, same.
product-based brand.
Yeah, Hermes is same. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
but they are very good at branding.
Yeah,
Very good at
they
branding.
have a long story.
Yeah, because it's bullshit how much you need to pay for Louis Vuitton. Why can they do that? Because they very carefully crafted their image, how they're different, how they bring quality.
I
Of
think-
course, they're quality, but
I think recently Chinese people, they don't buy Louis Vuitton.
they are smart. No, but actually, Uru-san, so that's very important. So actually, if I was Louis Vuitton, I would start to look into the possibilities to create a spin-off brand that
Recently,
gives a
what-
better
do you know,
quality price performance.
Yeah, do you know that recently Chinese people buy what?
Chinese,
Mm.
yeah, Chinese.
What
They buy Chinese goods, no? Or
No,
no?
this is not Louis Vuitton. This is not Chanel. This is high quality.
I don't know. So the
Coach?
local,
No,
brand.
French brand.
Yeah, local French brand.
Mm.
Hermes?
Hermes.
That's even more expensive, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but-
that's why Chinese people get more money.
That's
so
even more
they-
expensive.
I think they could buy
Hermes.
Hermes.
Oh.
But
They
anyway,
buy
so
Hermes.
by the way, so Coach, the brand from New York.
But that's also Louis Vuitton. That's the same company, right? LVMH. Yes.
My
Oh,
friends used to be work at LVMH. Yeah. He quit LVMH, but
The company is very, very smart in terms of branding.
yeah. So even in worker, so they didn't send the discount prices because the branding is crap.
How do we build brand? Quality? No, not
Not
quality.
only no, it's a consistent. It's
I
a
think story.
it's a story. It starts with the story, and then you need to basically you start with your internal organization. Everybody believes in that story. Then you apply that story to your internal organization. You make sure that everybody aligns to that story, can share that story with customers, and give an experience to customers that is consistent with that story. Then gradually you start to build up your story in the market by advertisement, by customer service, by everything. The entire experience needs to breathe that story. So that you a brand is a story that is completely carried by the entire organization and the product.
I think Toyota has one branding from pickup surface because every the terrorists have a Toyota's pickup. You know, so this is
terrorist.
bad image, but every terrorist guys wanna use a Toyota's
Yes.
pickup.
Yep.
Yeah, this is kind of brand I think. This is not good, but like because Toyota's pickups are really
Very good.
Reliable.
I know. In
Yeah.
Africa, they are. Everybody wants to have one.
Yeah.
No.
So I think this is kind of story. A bad story, but story.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a superior product. It's not so much a story. You could make a story out of it, but it's not so much a story. If I wanted to sell pickups in Japan, I would go to Africa and show how good that car is, how everybody adores that car. how people give an arm and a leg to own a car, a Land Cruiser.
Mhm.
And then people feel like, oh, wow. But what I see now in Tokyo, everybody wants to have a Mercedes.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, because the
It's,
Japanese
it's
wanna
ridiculously expensive.
import.
It's not
importing-
better. It's ridiculously heavy. It doesn't really, like, it's a good car.
Yeah, because I'm car guy, but like every part is like more sophisticated. How can I say? Yeah. But recently, so many people started to buy a Mercedes because they start to sell lower class, like a A class, a B class. So I think even in my friend, so he has a company in Shizuoka Prefecture. So sometimes in local area in Japan, so if people who operate the company buy a BMW or a premium German car, it's like it's gonna be trouble. So why did you buy expensive car? So your company has a profit, so you should
Yes.
you should sell discount prices. So,
Right.
So they avoid buying, the premium.
But
car.
it's-
But nowadays, Mercedes start to sell the
Like
low
reasonable
prices
price.
car.
Yeah.
So I think even in BMW or Mercedes, brand imaging is.
You wouldn't take your-
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you wouldn't take your car and go to a customer, would you?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that. Because it's the same everywhere.
I think everyone.
People don't want to see the supplier making lots of money. If you're a buyer, it's maybe different, but if you're a supplier, you're not going to show off your fancy car to your customer.
Yeah.
So how are you going to build a brand?
That's what I just said.
You summarize.
I summarized it already. Okay, so basically, create a story that is appealing to your own people, but especially to your customers. Then first you start to develop your own people. So your own people, sharing that story, making sure that they are adapting the way that they work along, that is consistent with that story, that contributes to actually delivering that story to the customer. And you start to, like, basically all the touch points with a customer, you start to align with that message. And so if you want to give a luxury image, then you need to make sure that all your stores have that luxury image, that all your employees are dressed accordingly, that they address the customers accordingly, that they provide service accordingly. So once you have done that, once you have established that, you can start to sell your goods, your brand story to your customers by having a website that's consistent, that provides good service, good information, gives a luxury image, by having a social media account that does it, by having a after-sales service that supports that luxury image, by giving people peace of mind and say, okay, we had a good service, and by carrying that story, by actively engaging with your customers. So it's basically, a brand is what a brand does.
Brand is brand.
What a brand does. Yeah.
Still, I don't understand clearly how to build a brand.
Actually, yeah, different.
Well, actually, you need to be able to be somebody, to be different, to be different from other people, to stand out. So it has to be something that distinguishes you from the rest. I think that is where Japan has difficulty. That's number one. I think Japanese companies are very well capable of creating an excellent image and actually or providing an excellent customer service and do everything that customers want and make them feel at ease. But they don't distinguish themselves because they don't have a very clear voice. So this is who we are. This is why we are different from the rest.
Why?
Because I think in Japan
Language?
everybody's trying to be the same.
No.
Yeah, Japanese society trend.
Yes.
Right? You mean?
People don't want to stand out. They want to be one of the group. If you're putting yourself deliberately outside of the group, outside of the pack. A brand is something that separates you from the others, and that's something very counterintuitive from Japanese society, where people are basically trying to be the same, trying to be a contributing member of the group. But if you do that, then you cannot build a brand.
Yeah. I mean, once people get off the track, it's gonna be difficult to come back on the track in Japan.
Right.
Very strong
Homogeneous.
unity. Yeah. Don't you think so, Hassan?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the opposite of what you need to do. You really need to separate yourself from the rest.
In Japan, even though working with company, he cannot or she cannot be produce uniqueness. Okay, so everywhere don't like he or she going ahead of the rest of people. So they are just same in lines to moving around. So it means they don't have difficulty to have so innovative activity. Right? So innovative product is very difficult to coming out from Japanese company. It means the other way is saying around very conservative everything, especially recently, very conservative.
So
One reason is the economy struggling. This is one reason. Maybe they try to running fast, and they come just to stay current position, waiting for their retirement.
Yeah.
Nothing happen.
Yeah.
Is more safer.
Yeah, it's better
Yeah,
not to make
Kotonarai.
mistakes than to risk being successful.
I forgot
Because if you want to be successful, you need to take risks.
ostrich policy.
Yeah. It's actually. I was yesterday. I was listening to a podcast of the New York Times.
Everybody was it.
So
Uh-huh.
country of
Probably we are
ostriches.
not.
The country of ostriches.
Yeah, before I think several years ago, I just proposed a training to Sony. Sony Corporation told me we had better ask the training to Accenture because even if training failed, he will not be criticized.
So nobody ever get fired for hiring IBM or buying
Yeah, if they're
IBM.
going to hire me, that he is going to be criticized if training session failed. Right?
Yeah, he runs
He
a risk.
told me. This is
Yeah, I
true.
mean, it's honest, but that's how people think.
So, it's true.
Thank you.
So this is my question is again, how to build brand image? Again, go
Maybe
a
you
little
can
bit,
tell it.
dig little bit, not ostrich. Like how would current situation very difficult to building brand image. Even if you said open marketing, more closer to customer, I understand. But so what?
So what?
So what?
What do you mean? So what?
So what mean? What is the next step to progress? I know that customer, British customer, American customer. What are you going to do?
Well, I think
I just give you, okay, we try to hire American management to develop marketing in the States. Is this a solution?
oh, that's what you mean. How are we going to implement it?